Just saying, it's a crazy time. You can't afford not to like black people. You don't like black people enough, you could become one yourself. I'm not the only black man with a bunch of mugs.
Shannon just did a Diddy mistake. You said
right.
It's them young ones that come.
Yes.
That'll do what you want.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm independent. I pay my bills. Right. I pay the cost to be the boss. You the boss by yourself.
Confirming to NBC it's cutting ties with its NFL commentator Shannon Sharpe. The move coming after Sharpe, of course, the Hall of Fame tight end, settled a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and battery.
ESPN done with Shannon Sharpe after bombshell. $50 million lawsuit. With what was the 19-year-old girl? How old was she? Story, 19, 20, 21-year-old girl. Something happened with the girl. She was a 19 or 20-year-old girl that he was hooking up with, or something happened.
Grateful for that, but I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until.
Katt Williams just lit Shannon Sharpe up. No holding back, no sugarcoating. After ESPN dropped Shannon like a bad habit, Katt didn't waste a second before calling him out. He's saying it's real hard to feel bad for Shannon, especially after all that so-called wise advice Shannon loved giving out. But guess what? He fell straight into the oldest trap in the game. Here's the rundown. PN cut Shannon off right after he wrapped up a $50 million lawsuit with OnlyFans model Gabriela Zuniga. Yep, $50 million. And Katt, he literally warned him. Sat right across from Shannon on Club Shay Shay and told him straight up, messing with white women could get you caught up. Katt even said, I think white women are as great as any other women. But that wasn't the point. It was a warning, a real one. Then Monique jumped in with her own advice, telling Shannon loud and clear, you better take your old ass and get somebody to love you. That was tough love. But instead of listening, Shannon brushed them both off like he had it all figured out. Fast forward, and now look at him, no job, name in every messy headline, and scrambling to pick up the pieces.
ESPN done with Shannon Sharpe after bombshell. $50 million lawsuit. With what was the 19-year-old girl? How old was she? Story, 19, 20, 21-year-old girl. Something happened with the girl. She was a 19 or 20-year-old girl that he was hooking up with, or something happened.
Started, obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week. And really, the only thing that I really ask is, like, guys, could we wait until Monday?
Instead of moving smart, he ended up cutting a huge check to this model and watching his rep take hit after hit. And now ESPN pulled the plug. Let's keep it real. What serious network wants to touch someone whose name is tied to a major lawsuit and drama like this? Katt's looking at him now like, told you so. Sources close to Shannon say Katt's got zero sympathy. They're saying UNC had it all and blew it by being stupid. Wild.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a delivery center, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans.
Turns out Katt Williams didn't pull that warning out of nowhere. He knew what was going down behind the scenes. According to an insider, Katt had already caught wind that Shannon was fooling around with that young OnlyFans model way before the lawsuit even hit the news. He saw the trap being set from miles away. Now, when Katt made that slick comment about the Jonathan Majors situation, folks thought he was being general. But nah, he was throwing shade right at Shannon without saying his name. Just proves it again. Katt might crack jokes, but he doesn't lie. He gave Shannon the heads up, but Shannon wasn't trying to hear it. What makes it worse? Shannon actually thought coughing up millions in that lawsuit would save his job and make the heat die down. But nope, ESPN cut him off anyway. And that model, Gabriela, she played it like a pro, because just 24 hours after the settlement dropped, she hopped on Instagram and announced her retirement from OnlyFans. She wrote,
They say how much he settled for?
They have not said how much he settled for, but if you guys remember in the beginning, Tony Busby had let us know that there was like $10 million offered when they were having a settlement conversation, and then Shannon Sharpe's attorney came out and mentioned that they offered a good amount of money because they were trying to keep the intimate details of this whole thing contained.
Private?
Yes, private or contained.
As for 50, what do you think?
I heard it was 15 million.
15?
I heard it. Allegedly, I had heard the streets are saying that he had to sell some of his podcasts, take his podcast shares, company to cash out.
Wow.
So she's part owner now?
Well, he did like to role play with her. He's not, I'm not allowed on his page. He blocked.
Today, I have decided to retire from OnlyFans. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me for the past few years. This community has given me a life I could never have imagined. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. I'm truly excited for this next chapter. So now Shannon's out of a job and Gabriella's out here living stress-free, set for life. She secured a bag so big, she said goodbye to the platform that made her famous. She flipped a whole lawsuit into generational wealth off a 50-something-year-old man who should have known better. Wild. Ain't nobody letting Shannon Sharpe off the hook for this mess. It's not just about getting played by that girl. People are calling him out for being straight up two-faced. This is the same man who once said he wouldn't spend more than $30,000 on his own daughter's wedding. Yet leaked texts show he was out here dropping $25,000 per night on that OnlyFans model for one sheet. That right there set the internet on fire. One user on X said it needed to happen to expose how much of a hypocrite Shannon is. He lost the little respect he had left. And someone else chimed in, Shannon Sharpe has done so many things wrong, but me learning about him being cheap on his daughter's wedding really made me side-eye the F out of that country bumpkin. You paid more for that young white girl who saw you as a lick. How dumb was that? It's brutal. But folks aren't holding back. They're watching Shannon give millions to a woman who finessed him clean while his own daughter had to stick to a budget wedding. That's what got people heated. And just when it couldn't get more humiliating, boom, ESPN dropped him for real. No press conference, no tribute, no thank you post, just silence. People magazine even reached out to ESPN for a statement, and they didn't want to say anything about Shannon, not a word. Shannon finally broke the silence on July 30th on his Nightcap podcast. And yeah, he said he's at peace with ESPN's move, but he also admitted he begged. That's right, begged. Man, this whole thing is spiraling fast and it's all playing out in front of the whole world. Shannon Sharpe begged PN to hold off announcing his firing until after his older brother, Sterling Sharpe, got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but they weren't trying to hear it.
Obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week. And really the only thing that I really ask is like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted it to be about him and I wanted it to be about my family. I know this coming out would overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so, as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You done with it too. Move on. And, I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow. They saw me, Lakers in 5, and they saw me say all these analogies that my grandparents gave me. And I was able to bring that to ESPN. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But I just wished of all things, like I said, hey.
Shannon knew his lawsuit and ESPN cutting ties would overshadow his brother's big moment. So he even apologized to Sterling ahead of time. But ESPN and Disney, zero sympathy. They flat out ignored his request and went forward anyway. Brr. But here's what really blows this whole situation wide open. Shannon was this close to locking in a $100 million media deal before everything exploded. Yup, he was in talks for a massive podcast package that would have included all of his Shishi Media shows, Club Shay Shay, Nightcap with Chad Johnson, Club 520 Podcast, The Bubba Dub Show, and Humble Baddies. That deal was about to take him from sports legend to media mogul status. In fact, on April 18th, just 3 days before Gabriella filed that lawsuit, Front Office Sports reported that Shannon was expected to ink a deal worth more than $100 million. But once that lawsuit hit, boom, that entire bag vanished overnight. Not only did he lose the deal, but ESPN cut him off, and now he's basically blacklisted from anything under the Disney umbrella.
I think Shannon just did a Diddy mistake. He settled. And I'm going to tell anybody who gets to that Shannon level, you got to start banking on your audience. Your audience don't think you did none of that bullshit.
ESPN, ABC, Hulu, all of it. And let's be honest, when you take a public hit this messy, with all eyes watching, those corporate doors slam shut real quick. You can't just bounce back from something like this in those polished media circles. All those shows, all those projects, all that power, gone, just like that. The dream of becoming a podcast king, over. All because Shannon got caught up with a 19-year-old white girl who flipped his whole world upside down. And now we're right back to what Katt Williams said from the jump. Ain't nobody feeling bad for Shannon. He had everything in his hands and threw it away making reckless moves. And if you thought it couldn't get worse for Shannon, think again, because now the internet detectives are digging deeper and what they're uncovering is just making him look even worse. Turns out Gabriella wasn't some random girl off the internet. Word is, Shannon had been flying her out for months, giving her VIP treatment, shopping sprees, and first-class vacations, all while preaching discipline and accountability to his followers. Folks are calling it straight-up clown behavior. One post said, "How you gonna be on TV talking like a role model but out here tricking like a fool?" And here's the twist. Gabriella allegedly had receipts. We're talking screenshots, voice notes, flight confirmations, everything. So when that lawsuit dropped, Shannon didn't just settle because he felt bad. He knew she had the kind of dirt that could bury him if it went public. That settlement wasn't charity, it was damage control. Meanwhile, fans have started calling out the silence from Shannon's inner circle. Not one of his close friends or co-hosts has stepped up to defend him, not even Chad Johnson. People notice the energy switch real quick. It's like everyone's distancing themselves, trying not to get hit by the fallout. And now, with every brand turning cold and every project falling through, Shannon's sitting in the wreckage of what could have been an empire. One source even said he's trying to shop new projects independently, but no major platforms are answering his calls. Katt Williams warned him, Monique gave him game, and even the fans tried to speak up. But Shannon thought he knew better. Now he's out here, reputation shot, money down the drain, and no one left in his corner. Now the streets are talking, and the whispers are getting loud. People are saying Shannon might have been moving reckless way before this whole Gabriella mess even came to light. Allegedly, insiders are claiming this wasn't Shannon's first time messing with younger women behind the scenes.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Oh, hanging in there.
You were thrown into a sex tape ordeal. I've spoken to sources that were close to Shannon Sharpe. I guess he was trying to dispel the gay rumors. Do you feel like that recording of him going live was real, or do you feel like he just used your name since he was with you for 10 plus years?
It's triggering. You gotta remember, this was a very sensitive subject. The last time I saw him, he raped me.
Word is, he had a whole pattern of keeping low-key relationships with women way younger than him, sliding them gifts, cash, and even helping with bills, on the low, of course. And the second things started getting complicated. He'd ghost them and act brand new. But this time, he picked the wrong one to play with. Gabriella didn't just go away quietly. She flipped the script, got legal, and walked away with a multi-million-dollar win. People are calling Shannon's whole image fake now. One fan tweeted, "Whole time I thought Shannon was the wise OG on Club Shay Shay, but turns out he was out here being a sugar daddy with a mic." Another comment said, "He fooled everybody. Talking discipline but couldn't even control his own urges." Even brands that once lined up to work with Shannon are now wiping him off their pages. Sports drink collab, gone. Clothing deals, quiet. Media offers, dead. Everyone's pulling out fast, like they don't want to be the next to get caught in the blast zone. And as the silence grows around him, it's starting to look like Shannon's not just facing career loss, he's facing isolation. Nobody's backing him. No public support, no damage control team. Just him, the headlines, and the mess he created. The fall from grace is hitting hard, and the saddest part, it was all self-inflicted. He had the bag, the voice, the respect, and gave it all up chasing clout and temptation. But now I want to hear from you. What's your take on all this? Was Shannon's downfall something he brought on himself, or did ESPN move too quick, cutting him off with no warning? And be real, how do you feel about him dropping millions to settle that lawsuit with an OnlyFans model while putting his own daughter on a strict wedding budget? That part had the whole internet side-eyeing him heavy. Was he just trying to protect his brand, or did he get played so hard he had no other option? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading all of them. This whole situation is wild from every angle, and it feels like Shannon's career hit the self-destruct button in real time. One minute he was building a media empire, the next he's out here trending for all the wrong reasons. And if you've been following this story, you already know it's the kind of drama that just keeps unfolding. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. And hey, Don't go anywhere. Tap the next video you see on screen for more celebrity drama, exposed secrets, and Hollywood chaos. You already know we're breaking it all down, so I'll see you there. Peace out till the next one.